Hey everyone, welcome back to Eat the Cake Anime. I'm your host, Jay Renee, and we are continuing Villains Month. We have covered a lot of villains, you guys. Listen, even in mentioning, we've heard, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Yeah, but these are villains that are characters to us that we've seen here at Eat the Cake Anime. Again, as I explained at the beginning of the month, these are the ones who sometimes they don't necessarily drive the story, but it keeps bringing you back to the story the way they do things. So this week, after the great Hunter x Hunter episode, shout out to Mazani Z Media once again for bringing us everything that you have, your expertise to Eat the Cake Anime. We want to focus on a different type of villain, a villain that is always out front, not someone that's in the background, not someone that is underrated and slyly intelligent. No, we had several choices. We were thinking about Orochimaru from Naruto. We know how he kidnapped and experimented on children. We talked about Shu Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist, even Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen. But this particular villain, I've known and watched this anime off and on for so many years, and every time I come back, it's always something great. So the anime is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. For any anime fans out there, everybody knows about JoJo, right? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has been a manga that has been going on for 38 years, you guys. It premiered as a manga in 1987. Okay, so when we talk about the villain this week, the villain is Dio, or Dio Brando, as he was known in the beginning. Dio is everywhere. Dio is a mess. Dio is a villain that is loud, that is in your face, that is cunning, that thinks nothing of some of the things that he does. So how did this character come to be and be such a well-known villain in the anime world? Well, as I said before, this is a supernatural anime, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah, the manga premiered in 1987, but the anime wasn't released until years later in 2012. So even though the anime has been going on for 13 years, it seems like so much longer because of the manga. So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is focused on the Joestar family, and the time frame is from the end of the 19th century to the present day. And the focus on the family is due to the Joestar family realizing that they have been, quote unquote, chosen, for lack of a better term, to fight the forces of evil, or the supernatural forces of evil across the generations. And it all starts with Dio and his adopted brother. Oh, y'all, listen. If anyone starts on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, let me tell you something. You are in for a wild ride, and it does not stop. We're talking, the manga is already in freaking 9 parts. So it's always something. So starts at the end of the 19th century with Dio Brando and his adopted brother, Jonathan Joestar. So Dio was kind of lowborn, but he always wanted to be more than what he was. And he was always very slick, very sly, very cunning. And he was always jealous of Jonathan, who was just very kind of open, loved his brother, things of that nature. Child, please. Dio is a villain to end all villains when it comes to conscience, because Dio possesses none and all he wants is power. So in the very first season, not to give anything away, but it's integral to the story, he becomes a vampire. So after he became a vampire, he wants to conquer the world. He has armies of zombies at his beck and call, and he wants to make sure that Jonathan Joestar and all the members of his family later on is just overpowered by he and his army, and he becomes a stand user. Now, for those of you all who aren't familiar with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, stand users are these people who are psychophysical beings, and they have these supernatural powers, and it's kind of a parallel to what's going on like in the real world with just supernatural elements. So he becomes a stand user, willing the all-powerful the world, and is responsible for setting a lot of events in motion. And it's so crazy because through the first 6 seasons of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Dio has influence on certain things. He has, there's so many parallels to what's going on in today's world. When I say certain things, the kind of major events that you see happening, he has a lot to do with them, and he is charismatic. I will give it to him. The characters that end up being related to him as the generations go down, just like he and Jonathan, like their generations, they're so malicious in some of the things that they do to try to get back at the Joestar family. So, like I said, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is 9 parts to the manga, several different seasons in the anime, and even the post-mortem Dio and the people that he's related to. It just goes down in history, and you see how he is, you see how things go with the level of villainy that Dio possesses. Now, don't get it twisted. He is not doing this for any kind of great motive. Dio wants revenge. He wants power. He did his best, or he does his thing by manipulating the Joestars. This man does not mind killing people. To him, it's just like, yeah, on to the next. You're in my way. Throughout the anime, he manages to do certain things to several, titular characters. It is, and I'm laughing because Dio is just, yes, Dio Brando is, y'all, he's awful. He's awful, and he's loud. He is loud. That battle cry he has, the Joestars himself has his battle cry, Dio! It's so, in my opinion, it was so annoying in the beginning. I couldn't stand it because I'm like, okay, is it really that deep? But the more you get into it, there are different arcs. You have the Phantom Blood series, Stardust Crusaders, Stone Ocean. Dio actually, there's a light novel for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure called Over Heaven, and he's the protagonist of the light novel. And even his post-mortem stuff, you have the Crazy Diamonds Demonic Heartbreak. Yeah, he has vampiric abilities, personal skills, and yes, he is intelligent. He's very intelligent, and he will stop at nothing to get his revenge, using people. Everybody knows how he hated, his father, and saw his dad as just a way to get to where he needed to be in society because he was lowborn. But his relationships were always skewed. He was always seeing things through this need of, I want to be more, I want to be better than what I was born into and have all this power. You know what they say about absolute power? Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. So yeah, and Dio, he is a perfect example. Like I said, he's not a character that kind of sits in the background and watches things happen. No, he is right there. He is a brilliant tactician. He manages to get away with murder. He builds an empire, not over several years or several decades, but spanning several continents. And he is just very focused and naturally ambitious, singularly focused on how he can destroy the Joestar family. And at first, when I first started watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I'm going to tell you guys, I was saying, nah, this ain't for me. I don't really like it. It's too simple. It's too cheeky. It's too precious. But the more I watched it, the more I could see, again, the parallels and what's going on in the real world or in the things that we experience or the things that we're experiencing now. So if you want something that's really good, really over the top with an over the top villain, but he earns his villainy, he earns it honestly. And I'm laughing because think about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. How it spans the generations. It is everything from an homage to altruism, to villainy, and then you take on the more materialistic things like fashion and music. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has become a world all its own. Producer Ron and I, we love to talk about how we like the intro music and the outros of a lot of these anime shows. Y'all, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, one of the outros was Jodeci, Forever My Lady. Okay? So it's just letting you know how it has come about with the times. So, of course, the manga's been out for almost 40 years. It is one of the best-selling manga series in history. Not of, in Japan or whatever, but just period. It has done all the things. It has been in Jump Comics, Weekly Shonen Jump, all of that. They do have the anime, but they also have a couple of OVA series, some films. There's the Phantom Blood film. There is the JoJo's Bizarre OVA series, spawning so many things: light novels, spin-offs, video games, just some everything. And you know who is there through it all? Dio Brando, aka Dio. We don't even call him Dio Brando anymore. It's just Dio. And then you talk about altering the family tree, things of that nature. It is a great watch if you have time, if you want to get in there. And like I said, Dio is a character that you haven't seen before because his physical appearance is that of something that was a fashion from a 1970s character. No, not 1970s. No, 1980s, because he's fashioned after Roy Batty. If anybody has seen the movie Blade Runner, you know exactly who I'm talking about. That's who Dio is. That's who he's inspired by. And then like the mannerisms and phrases, the cries and the yelling and the Muda and useless, and it's an exhausting trip through JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It is a bizarre trip, but this villain makes it worth it through all the generations, through all of the scheming, through everything. To me, Dio is the main reason to watch or check out JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And it's still going on now. You can catch JoJo, I think, on Netflix, any kind of streaming service, because it's been around that long. And the manga series, again, we're talking, over 3 decades, soon to be 4. And the author, Hirohiko Araki, is still writing. So, hey, cheers to him. All right, you guys, I think that is it for this week's episode of Villains. This month has been fantastic. We here at Eat the Cake Anime, thank you guys so much for your support. Congrats to Naomi, who is graduating on tomorrow. Shout out to you, Nene. We're so proud of you. Producer Ron, that is his oldest daughter, you guys. And she's going to be a high school graduate. We are so proud. So congrats to her. All right, you guys. So we have one more week in Villains Month. Thank you guys so much for all of your support and your suggestions. Shout out to Z Media. Thank you so much. Zani or Mazani, she's doing an excellent job, you guys. Thank you for checking us out. Like, comment, subscribe. Check us out here on YouTube, where she does excellent visuals, and you can find us on the other platforms for audio as well. Anything from Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Spotify. We're available everywhere. So until next time, you guys, don't forget, thanks for joining us. Eat the Cake Anime. It is okay to enjoy anime.